Have you ever noticed it's easy to say I love you when it costs you absolutely nothing? But the moment that love requires humility, the moment that love requires you to get low, that's where we find out exactly what love is. Well, I want to welcome you to day 2 of the 7-day reset. Today, we're going to see how love looks like Jesus. We're going to read in a moment. Jesus shows us what love looks like with a towel. So grab your Bibles. Let's go to John 13, and we're going to start in chapter 1. And the big idea is simple here. Love is servitude, not just feelings. So in John 13:1, it says, before the Passover celebrations, Jesus knew that his hour had come to leave this world and return to his Father. He had loved his disciples during his ministry on earth, and now he loved them to the very end. It was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and that he had come from God and would return to God. So he got up from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and poured water into a basin. Then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around them. Jesus didn't talk about love first. He showed us first what love is. And the way he showed us was not with the microphone or a platform. It was simply with the towel. Feet back then, they walked everywhere. So it was covered in mud, dirt, grind, sweat, tears, whatever you want to call it. And this job of cleaning feet was for the lowest of the servants. Jesus, the King, took a step down to that lowest place to wash the disciples' feet in an act of servitude and showing us truly what love is. Because real love isn't just, I care about you. Real love says, I want to serve you, even when it's inconvenient to me, even when it's unseen, and even when it costs you your pride. So let's take a look in verse 6 where he's washing all the disciples' feet. He gets to Peter, and Peter said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus replied, you don't understand what I am doing now, but someday you will. No, Peter responded, protesting, you will never ever wash my feet. Jesus replied, unless I wash you, you won't belong to me. So when I get to Peter in the Bible, I look at him just like us. He's uncomfortable in a lot of areas. He's uncomfortable receiving humble love. Some of us don't struggle with serving. We struggle with letting Jesus serve us and letting him wash out our shame, letting him love us even when we feel unworthy. Remember, you can't give what you refuse to receive. If you won't let Jesus wash your feet, you'll try to love people from a place of pride, from a place of disgust. And I want to remind you that love is not pride in disguise. Sometimes we serve, but we're still chasing control. Sometimes we help, but we want to receive credit for helping someone. Sometimes we do good, but we want to be in the spotlight. Jesus shows us a different kind of love. He shows us love without leverage, love without announcement, and love without, what do I get back in return? And in this next set of verses, Jesus explains to us why he took time and he went to that level of washing their feet. So in verse 12, it says, do you understand why I am doing this? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth. Slaves are not greater than their masters, nor is the messenger more important than the one who sends the message. Now you know these things. God will bless you for doing them. Jesus says this is the example, meaning if you want to know what love is, don't define it by just a feeling. Define it by Jesus Christ himself. And notice, he says blessings will come your way from doing it. And not just knowing it, not just posting it or quoting it, just doing it. So what does foot washing love look like in today's society? Husbands, foot washing love could look like you're doing the dishes before your wife even asks you to do them. Or you're helping a family member before they've reached their breaking point. You're serving with joy instead of attitude. Foot washing love comes from a place of servanthood. My pastor always talks about whenever he first decided to go into ministry, he would go to his pastor and he was like, can I just wash the toilets? Because finding that job that nobody wants to do really puts you in a position to understand where Jesus was whenever he started washing those feet. So Jesus is leaving us with one last command, and he's talking to the disciples here in verses 34 and 35. He says, so now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Jesus says the world will recognize us not by how much we know, but by how much we love. And not just love as a feeling, love that looks like Jesus. It's a Tao kind of love, picking up that servitude and serving one another. So here's the reflection for today. What would foot washing love look like in your life today? Who around you needs humbled love, not loud love? Where is Jesus asking you to serve without being seen? What area of your life has become about being noticed instead of being faithful? Today's practice is simple. I want you to just go out and do one unnoticeable act of service. No posting about it, no announcement, and no looking at the person as what I did for you. Do it just like Jesus did with the towel, because if you can only serve when people see it, that's not true love. That's just you out there searching for the spotlight. So we just finished up day 2 of the 7-day reset, what love looks like through Jesus. If you're following along, make sure you drop a towel emoji in the comments. Share this with someone you think that they will find useful, and I will see you guys in day 3. Be blessed and have an amazing day.